Hi everyone! Thank you for joining me today while we practice safe social distancing from home. I'd like to read one of the books from our Places and People, a book list for kids. If you'd like to learn more about the books on that list or to download a free reading guide that has activities and questions for kids, click the link in our bio. Today's book is extra special because it celebrates a woman. Her name was Zaha Hadid, and she was an architect. What is an architect? Well, an architect is a person who designs buildings and structures, and Zaha Hadid was well known for her unique and creative designs of buildings that are all over the world. We'll learn about her story today and how she got started. The title of today's book is The World is Not a Rectangle, a portrait of architect Zaha Hadid, written by Jeanette Winter. Let's get started. In Iraq, rivers flow through green marshes. Wind swoops through sand dunes and through ancient cities. Zaha Hadid sees the rivers and the marshes and dunes and ruins with her father, and imagines what cities looked like thousands of years ago. What do you think your city looked like 1,000 years ago? Do you think it had rivers, sand dunes, or marshes like Zaha's? In Baghdad, where Zaha lives with her family, she dreams of designing her own cities. Zaha looks long and hard at the patterns in her Persian carpet and sees how the shapes and colors flow into each other, like the dunes and the rivers and the marshes. Zaha has ideas. She designs clothes for herself. She arranges her furniture. She loves her mirror because the corners aren't square. There are no corners in the dunes or rivers or marshes. Zaha is a Muslim who attends a Catholic school. And she loves math. Raise your hand if you love math. Me. And still thinks about the ancient ruins. She leaves home to learn about cities and how to build them. She has ideas. In London, Zaha studies to be an architect. And remember, we talked about that earlier. An architect is a type of person who designs buildings and structures. She fills notebooks with plans and designs. She makes paintings of the cities she sees in her mind. Zaha graduates with honors, rents a room in an old building, and opens her own office, Studio 9. A few friends join her. They all work hard night and day, making drawings and plans. We never slept. Zaha's designs don't look like other designs. Her buildings swoosh and zoom and flow and fly. The world is not a rectangle. No one wants to build her unusual designs. They say they can't be built, but Zaha knows they can. She enters competition after competition, hoping to win, hoping someone will be brave enough to build them. Finally, one of Zaha's designs is chosen. The architect judges think her plan is the best. She's an Arab. This can't be built. Impossible. She's a woman. But the city committee doesn't like it and won't build it. They hold another competition. Her design wins again, and still they refuse. Hadid means iron in Arabic, and Zaha is strong as iron. She keeps on working, one plan after another. I made a conscious decision not to stop. Zaha remembers the grasses in the marshes swaying and sees the tall buildings dancing like grass. Zaha remembers the wind in the dunes and feels it blowing over and around and through her desert building. Zaha looks at shells and craters her stadium like a cocoon. Zaha looks at stones in a stream and builds an opera house like the pebbles in the water. Inside the opera house, a singer is the pearl in the oyster shell. Zaha looks up at the stars and the galaxies and sees swirling buildings. Zaha looks at waves and sees a bridge that moves with the water. Zaha looks at the Alps and builds a museum inside a mountain peak with windows to see the sky and the valleys. Zaha's ski jump reaches to the sky like a mountain. Zaha thinks the jungle and ancient wood temples and builds a wooden building to remember a far-away war. One by one, Zaha's designs become buildings all over the world. We do this so you can be in a simple place and feel good. Zaha is so busy now that every room in the old school building is filled. Over 400 architects work in these rooms, designing, planning, engineering, and making models of Zaha's vision. You should do what you like. Zaha designs a dollhouse and shoes and chairs. She designs a stalactite sculpture and an iceberg seat. I can't stop thinking. Sometimes when she is working, Zaha's early memories return. The beauty of the landscape where sand, water, reeds, birds, buildings, and people all somehow flow together has never left me. I still believe in the impossible. Then one night, the light in Zaha's window goes dark. She has left this world. But her architects keep their lights on, designing, planning, engineering, and making models of her visions, keeping her flame blazing bright, even though Zaha is gone. These are all the wonderful buildings that Zaha created all over the world. Do you see one that you like? I hope you enjoyed that story, and I'd like for you to think about all the obstacles that Zaha faced and how she persevered. That means how she overcame those challenges when people were telling her her designs couldn't be built. Have you ever faced a challenge, an obstacle in your life? A challenge that perhaps stopped you from doing something? How did you overcome that challenge? Zaha persevered and she became a world-famous architect. So know that nothing is impossible. Before we leave today, I would like to do a short activity with you all to think about designing your own building. Zaha was inspired by Iraq, the country that she was from, and she utilized nature to create her designs. So let's think about nature that you're surrounded by. Are there trees or rivers and marshes like where Zaha lived? Or is there something else? What nature inspires you? Think about that for a moment. Once you have an idea of the nature that inspires you, I'd like for you to think about creating a building that has elements of that type of nature. For example, if we look back in the story, Zaha created buildings that reminded her of water near the bridges. She also created buildings that reminded her of the galaxies. So what building are you going to create? Let's take a moment to do that. One of my favorite places to visit near my home is the beach. I love the water and I love putting my feet in sand. So my building is going to have a design that's inspired by the beach. So I'm going to create a design and see what I can share with you all. I hope you guys enjoyed that story, and I hope you guys think of different creative designs for your buildings. And I'd love for you to share those with us. If you'd like to tag the LA Conservancy, we'll be able to reshare those designs with other people. And the design that I want to share with you, I created really quickly, is a building that reminds me of the beach. So I'd love to see your designs. Thank you for joining me today, and stay tuned for more story time with the Conservancy next week. Thank you and stay safe.